Greetings once more, Taekwondo family, and welcome to Miami Minutes, the show that is so perfect it bridges the gap between the kids and the old people. We're bringing you all together under our lovely, wonderful martial arts umbrella. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And I am also a man who really erratically hates when people point at him. It's me, Niall McGowan.
That is a thing, isn't it? Like, especially with our parents' kind of generation, like, don't point. It's like, yeah, but I'm an Italian at heart or something. I gesticulate all the time. I'm all hands, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the guy in this minute, if he met Harrison Ford, oh boy, they would not get on.
Or they would be best of friends.
That's
Who can say that?
His reaction at the end. I think it depends on whether because you're watching it with subtitles. I know you've mentioned subtitles several times.
Oh no, I can't get the subs. I sometimes find like scripts and things to read what they're saying, but not always.
If there was a script for this, actually, we might as well, because this is just now getting into minute talk. So if you want to just introduce what minute it is, we can just dive on in. Actually,
absolutely, yes. This is minute 18. The minute starts with those songs for kids that I mentioned before, and it ends with the threat of the killing of an ass. Not the animal.
I'm guessing the literal script for this scene was just they talk and fight. Because I've never before seen something that's so blatantly improv and by not professional actors at all.
Oh, bless them. They're trying so hard, Niall. They're really trying, aren't they? But it devolves into, like, It's Always Sunny shouting over each other kind of thing.
I thought what really reminded me of exactly like when I would do drama class back when I was, like, 12. And every like, you know, improv scene the teacher would get you to do would always end with people having a fight because, you know, a school of rowdy boys. That's what they're going to do.
Please tell me in slow motion as well.
But it would always end with somebody, it had to end with like a big massive fist fight because that's just what people wanted to do. And it was on par with this. I think this was near enough the exact kind of thing. The amount of like my favorite bit is the end when he mentions the pointing because it's so like I have to come up with a line and all I've got is this. There's no. Oh my god! But so it's bizarre because this might be like the worst minute of the movie, but it's also the best because it's phenomenal how craptacular this little it's like a little mini movie this minute as well. It begins and at the end. It's the thing has resolved.
We go on a roller coaster. We really do. Because these guys coming in from the last minute, we find out who they are, these shady characters, you know, approaching our club owner. Turns out these guys are a band somehow, and he fired them to get Dragon Sound instead. And to be honest, right, if this is the way they act, good riddance. I bet they were a real fucking nuisance the whole time.
Well, like, all I could think of was, like, what kind of a band were these guys?
Oh, yeah.
Because if they're accusing Dragon Sound of making music for kids, what were they playing?
Well, that's the thing. I had that, in my mind as well, because, he says, he's arguing, you know, they play songs for kids. Which is kind of right, you know, it's lovey-dovey. I can see why he thinks that.
I was thinking more for kids, like, it's borderline Barney the Dinosaur.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's, like, very, like... It's just friendly and family friendly. I get it.
A friendly song.
But this guy, it's like, well, yeah. What do you do? Doom metal?
That's the thing too. Is it's like his band's name is like Aghast or like Circle of Dead Lambs or something.
Now that I would enjoy, but. You know, the owner says, oh, no, you play songs for old people. And, you know, I can actually see that. When he says it, I'm like, oh, yeah, wait, look at these guys. Just look at them. I bet they all think they're the next Pink Floyd or something. You just know they've got 20-minute long songs. They've got bass solos and shit like that.
I don't know, because I think in 87, with Pink Floyd, I was thinking more like, they're like Glenn Campbell cover band or something. Like they're doing old country songs or something. Like stuff from the 50s. Like, I was like, what do you call that guy in Mars Attacks that they use to like blow up the Martians' heads?
Oh, shit, yeah. We should know. We did a whole podcast episode about it.
I'm sure we mentioned his name several times on that episode, but I want to say Dwight Yoakam, but it's not Dwight Yoakam because he's still very much alive and very current.
But, I mean, I get that. Yeah. But...
So you get up there, the guy could be like, "You're
I think they look too serious. Like, they take themselves really seriously, I think. They think they're musicians, you know. That's my vibe on them. And... I think something like a kind of proggy band would be considered old, because this is like the late 80s. Everything's got to be rocking and badass, and that's not rocking and badass, is it? It's like experimental.
You think it's just like, they're the Yes tribute band? No. Or maybe.
I really hope there's a Yes tribute band called No.
There's gotta be. Or at least maybe. Or like, yep. Or something.
Nope. We've got a whole fleet of them here.
Yeah. We're just like, now that our cottage industry is selling off trademarked Yes tribute band names.
Indubitably.
That'd be great if they took themselves so seriously. Their band name was actually Indubitably. He was playing 25-minute drum solos for old people, man.
That's what I reckon. I reckon there's some jazz in there as well. You know, it's a muso band. They're on heroin.
Oh, this is the Spinal Tap when they enter into their jazz fusion kind of.
That's one of the best bits of that.
It's like, you are witnesses to the rebirth of Indubitably. That's
going to be our band. We're going to start a group now.
That's still in my heart. I wish they were death metal guys, though, or doom, because doom metal is like, death metal is like still fun. Doom metal's the kind of like one note can last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It just has to have enough dread around it.
And I've been at those gigs, and for the first 20 seconds, you're like, that's amazing. And then like 5 minutes later, you're like, oh, God, play another note, please.
It's like that movie Mandy with Nick Cage. That was like a doom metal movie. Like, that's the vibe of that film. It's like, oh, yeah, it's kind of cool, but it's also really, really slow. And really kind of confusing.
It's got its place, though, you know.
I do like that though, because the fact that these guys look like they take themselves seriously, but that's their civvies, John. Like, these guys are out, like, when they're on stage, they could be the makeup could be on.
They're in drag.
They could be just like, they put on the priest robes. They go out there like
that band Ghost.
Yeah, totally. They come out and it's like, yes, now this guy's the high priest of Blood Mountain or some crap.
Yeah. That would be cool. That would.
Yeah. All their songs are about, sacrificing to the Lord of Orlando or something.
It's the only way to make them interesting, because look at this guy. I would have written this as, he's the manager of the other band, and he's come round annoyed.
Yeah.
But no, what is he, the lead singer? Look at him. What the fuck?
No, it seems like an odd bunch. They come in, it's like, are they all in the band, or did he bring, like, some heavies with him? Like, what is... Although I do like, too, the fact that these guys, it looks like they've been to, like, a dad and lad sale for suits. They're both wearing the same suit. Only one guy's, like, half the size of the other guy.
Do we have to explain dad and lad to Americans? They can probably figure it out.
That's basically, it usually applies to haircuts. Discount haircuts is dad and lad offer where you bring your kid, and you get a haircut, and he gets a haircut.
Yeah. Which makes sense, because, I mean, trying to get the kid there is difficult at the best of times. So it's like, well, if we do it together,
Yeah. Oh, I know now from knowing people who have kids, the kids are spoiled in the barbershop these days. They put them like little, like little cars that you put a coin in and they go back and forth. And then they have tablets there for them to watch stuff and all this. It's like, well,
none of that in my day. I had to sit in silence.
That's why I didn't even have to go over the barbershops. My mum did it in the kitchen. On top of your head. That's it. What am I paying 10 quid for a haircut for?
No, I always wanted a fancy hairdo. I'd be waiting and I'd look through the little brochures. But all the pictures, not only were they out of date, because they always have ancient fucking books and magazines in there, but I didn't quite comprehend hair. So I'd be like, I want hair like this, and it'd be like Vanilla Ice. And like, well, you haven't got sideburns, so you can't do that. It doesn't make sense. I'm like, no, but I want that.
Yeah, but like that montage of like Lisa getting her hair styled, where just like she doesn't have the length for any of these things.
That was
plus
me.
Also the shave spot in her head seems to be indicating that shave spot is white.
Yeah.
And you're like, is she covered in, are they all covered in like yellow fur or something? What happened here?
I reckon they did a test like of it being yellow, and it just looked weirder.
Yeah.
So they were like, no. To get the point across, we've got to make it white.
Yeah. But then they all do the kind of things. So like, oh yeah, she seems now to have very. I suppose maybe they put in extensions for her or something. But like,
were they a big thing back then? I don't know. You didn't really hear much about extensions outside of sort of film.
I can't really imagine putting them on an 8-year-old girl as well. You think to be like, no.
Then again, if she's lost loads of her hair, okay, you might in that situation. That's a bit different.
Yeah. That's the one major benefit of being bald is just never having to worry about going to the barbers. Because I hated going to the barbers. Yeah. One, for having to speak to them, because I'm just an antisocial like asshole, same. Basically. And also, even when I was a kid, I hated getting my hair cut because I always liked big hair. I mentioned before, like my ideal haircut when I was a kid was Beetlejuice, like that backcombed kind of nest thing. And then, but my parents wouldn't tolerate that. And then so they always forced me to get my hair cut. I hated it. And then even when I was old enough to sort of have a bit of my own say, like I never wanted it long. I always wanted to cut it, but then when I ever went to the barbers, they always cut it way too short. I was just like, I hate the scenario.
I find they do that deliberately. I think they always cut it slightly shorter because then it grows over the next couple of weeks into the ideal of what you're after.
Yeah. So you have to be patient. But I didn't have the patience, John. I didn't have the patience. So.
You have to earn that. And by the time you've figured out patience, you've lost all your hair.
Yeah. Unless you're like one of those, like Colin Farrell or one of those guys with great heads of hair. Johnny Depp out there with his mane.
David Lynch.
Of course, yeah.
That's
a man. He knows what he's doing with his hair, though. He has got it going on with that thing.
I'd love that hair. That would look so nice. Oh, bastard. By the time I tried doing hair like that, I was already losing my hair, and that was my attempt to hide that.
Yeah.
So it didn't quite have the same volume.
No. Yeah. But the two guys in this scene, though, well, the two guys we begin with, both very unimpressive haircuts, I have to say.
Yeah, so. Very of the time, in that people think, the 80s has wacky hair. It's like, no, but older people, I say older, they're not like 70, but you know what I mean? The adult generations didn't have wacky hair. They still looked a bit 70s.
I have the grim news for you, John. I'm absolutely certain that both these men are younger than us.
They're probably about 34, I was thinking, yeah.
I think they're probably about like 26. Back then. It was just like, that's the way it is.
Back then, men were men.
Because I was wondering, why I guess we'll never know. Was this band... Did they just not suit the vibe? Were they just playing old country bumping songs or like pretentious prog rock that the kids weren't into?
I think so.
Or were they just bad? Maybe like they just couldn't get a crowd in. Whereas everyone was like, we don't know who Dragon Sound is, but look at that name. That's way better than Indubitably or Aghast or whoever the hell these guys are.
I think it's the former, because I don't think they're necessarily bad. He doesn't ever accuse them of being crap, does he?
I mean, I kind of took, you play music for old people has kind of been like, it's not saying, well, you play very good music for old people and you play it very well, but it's still...
Well, yeah, but that's kind of implied, right? Like, that doesn't fit his club. He wants a younger crowd. Because you see the audience for Dragon Sound, they're not old. There's a bit of a mixture going on, but, it's skewing young, right?
It's probably because he got that haircut, and then everyone now thinks he's 50. He's like, I'm only 23! My dad just bought me this club, what the hell? So now I gotta get out of the cool bands. So Dragon. But the thing is, because we learn, throughout this minute, this guy, he's got skills. And we know he clearly saw something in Dragon Sound. Is he a previous tenant of the Taekwondo orphanage, do we think?
That crossed my mind. I think he's connected to them more than just he runs the club. It never comes back to this story, but I think it was something they sort of cut along the way. He's got to be connected to them. He knows martial arts somehow. I don't understand
He was
how.
that guy's dad, and they're like, wait, that doesn't make any sense.
Oh, you know what? I've just thought of something. He does insult their music skills. Sorry to go back. He does insult their music skills because there's a line, which I've written down, actually, when they're arguing. He goes, are you deaf? You sure don't know how to play, I'll tell you that. Which is perfection. What a mic drop.
The thing is, you get the vibe that, like, I'm assuming he employed them to be the house band and then fired them. Because it's like getting them in for one gig and then them not coming back. That's one thing. But it's very much that they were fired. So he clearly had them in mind for a long-term residency, I guess.
Ooh, right. Well, let me headcanon then. I think, right, the previous owner of the club had them as the house band. He took over maybe 4 months ago, something like that. He bought the place after doing well since his days as an Orpan. So he's bought the club, and he's given him a chance. He's like, I'll see, and he's like, this isn't fitting with what I want.
Yeah. You think maybe he also got a letter from his long lost dad, and it turned out he owned a club. He's like, I'm leaving it all to you, son.
Just promise me you'll keep the band.
Yeah, that was. But he was like dying as he wrote that, so it's like, promise me you'll keep the. Just scroll down to the bottom. It's like, he must mean the bar behind. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I'll have to renew the liquor license, I guess.
Oh, that'd be amazing. And before we go back to the Rumble as well, something else I forgot to bring up is the what do we call this guy on the left? The music. Let's just call him the singer. I don't know what he does in the band. The singer.
Yeah.
Does he call the club owner, which is his name in the credits, by the way, club owner? Does he call him Batman?
Oh, I didn't
or
hear
does
that.
he call him Fat Man?
I'm assuming. I would assume the latter.
Well, I thought the latter, but the more I listened to it, the more it sounded like he says Batman. What? In fact, we can pause here. Listen to it now and see what you think.
What second? Do you have an exact second for it?
20. It's just after sort of 24.
So it's deep into it. Okay, I thought it was like in the
24
opening.
seconds, and then it'll come up in a second where he does the death line, but they're speaking over each other. So try and listen carefully.
Let's see. I'm pretty sure it's Fat Man, to be fair. Although he's not particularly heavy.
No.
Like that's because he's just trying to get under his skin, I guess, maybe.
I can't tell. Either of those options is peculiar.
I mean, that's gonna be an extreme, maybe back in the day, back in the height of the yuppie 80s, this guy was considered fat. It was like, he looks like but we know he's in good shape because he knows Taekwondo, for Christ's sake.
I suppose, but then everyone was skinny because everyone was on coke and stuff.
Yeah, most likely in this very scene. They both come from their respective bathrooms.
Yeah. They both act coked up.
Oh, totally. Well, no, you're in a club. It's like they just hand you a line as soon as you approach the door.
I could imagine that club owner's got one of those rings that pops open.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, it's just got coke in the ring. No, I could see that.
Sarah Michelle Gellar in Cruel Intentions. She has a crucifix around her neck because she's such a good girl. No, the crucifix has got cocaine in it. She's a bad girl.
But famously, actually, David Bowie, when he was on his cocaine binge, his massive cocaine binge, he would famously only eat red peppers. And drink milk. That was his diet every day. It was Coke, red peppers, and milk.
I remember seeing The Man Who Fell to Earth, and he spends a lot of time in that movie, just lounging around in nothing but trousers.
Yeah,
and he is a rail. He's just like it looks like, because I know people are like, oh, he's so sexy in that, and it's like, he's got good hair. The rest of the time, he looks like he's about to die. He's so goddamn thin. He's so pale. It's just like, no, he doesn't look. I mean, maybe to some people, looking like E.T. when he's at the bottom of that ravine dying. That's the look they're going for.
Well, that's actually slightly after his cocaine era, right? His cocaine era is Station to Station, which is a few albums before, because that's around when he does Low. That's his Berlin period. But this is the twist. So he got super skinny during Station to Station, and he was off his nut on drugs. So he decided, I think, along with Iggy Pop, actually, they were like, right, we need to get away from cocaine because we can't stop taking it, and it's not good. So they moved to Berlin.
It's a notably low-key, non-party town that is Berlin.
Well, this is the twist, right? Berlin's drug was heroin.
Much better.
But David didn't like heroin. So he's like, oh, well, it's fine. I won't take that.
I know if a friend of ours is going to see the Wolf Tones this Sunday.
Oh.
But he's currently abstaining from drink. And he's a guy who likes to drink. And so his whole thing was like, he was trying to get rid of the ticket for a while. He's like, I can't go to a Wolf Tones gig sober. Like,
no, that seems like blasphemy.
Yeah, and then Tony today's like, no, I'm gonna power through. I'm gonna go. But it's just like It's basically like Barney Gumble being the designated driver, just like a man who loves to drink all the time, having to go to an Irish, like the most Irish of Irish bands in the world, in an Irish centre in Liverpool, where the to quote Lloyd Christmas, the beer will be flowing like wine.
Oh God!
So I'm just going to see if that just breaks him. That just destroys his entire spirit.
It would break me. I'll be perfectly honest.
He just picks a fight with the Wolf Tones. Like, you play music for old people, man. No, just because his birthday's at the start of December, and that's he's going back to Ireland for it, so it's going to be a blowout. So I think
he
it's
wants to
basically
be okay beforehand. Yeah.
Yeah. To be fair though, I mean, he's very much sticking to it. So
I was planning to stick to it this week, and it's just not happened. So.
Well, I never get all that wrecked anymore. So I was like, But I mean, it's personally not a problem for me. So
Weirdly, when I'm at work, it's fine, even though I hate work. So you'd think, oh, that'll drive me to drink. No, the thing is, I know I can't drink, so I don't. But the past week I've been off work, so I don't have to be up for anything. So what do you think? You go, I'll just go buy some more wine. Why not? There's nothing to lose. It's like, no, it becomes like, oh, fucking hell. But I'm back in work next week, so then I'll have to randomly stop out of nowhere again and be like, oh.
Yeah. You might want to just maybe move somewhere where they only take heroin and see if...
Well, to be fair, I would not be interested in heroin, so it would work, right?
Have you ever tried it, John? I mean, don't put your nose up on something you're not even tried. Come on.
Well, that's the thing. I'll be honest. I've never tried it. I don't want to. If that's your bag, people, do it responsibly. I don't think you can do it responsibly, but try.
I think at this point now, it's like the PR for heroin is so bad.
Yeah.
Like, who's saying like, do you want some heroin? Like, I've never tried any, but yes, I will have some. It's like, I think everybody should be like, no, I think, cocaine, fair enough, because it's a party drug. But the heroin's just like, oh, do I want to potentially risk throwing my, maybe potentially an entire decade of my life away?
Yeah.
Getting into this thing and then trying to get off it.
I think it appeals to people, and I don't mean this as a diss, but with like no hope. Well, I don't give a shit. I just want the best drug. I don't care what happens.
Yeah.
Because I imagine it probably is fantastic in your mind. Like it's probably the best thing ever. But it just cancels your brain, basically. But luckily, these guys are more coke.
Yeah.
These guys aren't.
This was a heroin fight. I don't think would be. Almost nearly any other drug, it would have to be coke. Because, but the dialogue is so good. Like, it's awful, but it's so great.
I love the way as well this guy takes off his jacket. And if wrestling has taught me anything, it's that when that happens, shit's gonna go down. He's like, oh God. Ric Flair always used to do that.
There's no chance he was coming in for a word. He was like, he was like. He might have been like taking his jacket off on the way in the door. He was so ready to fight.
Yeah. To be fair, we don't know the full story. I mean, his band have been sacked. I get his anger. Oh, I
thought you were meant. I don't want to ruin my jacket. Like, my band's been fired. I don't know when my next paycheck's coming. I can't ruin my good suit.
That's another good point. It's his one suit.
Although at the end we see him attempt to attack the band or the club owner with the suit. So maybe he's like, this is a lethal weapon. I'm taking this out of. To be fair to you, I'm going to remove the jacket lest it do some serious damage.
That's also something Ric Flair would do. He'd hit people with the jacket and then jump out of the ring. And then for some reason, he would start elbow dropping his own jacket as like an intimidation thing. And he'd go, woo! And elbow drop. Woo! Elbow drop.
Speaking of people who seem like they're on cocaine.
Yeah, he had to be on something. Then again, what I've heard of Ric Flair, it was just alcohol.
No.
I know he's cancelled at the moment, though. We're not supposed to talk about Ric Flair because the old story. It's a very old tale, but it got brought up again on the Dark Side of the Ring, where he was sexually. I don't want to say assaulted someone, but he unwanted sexual advances on an aeroplane to the stewardess back in the day because he was so pissed off his nut. He was so drunk.
I don't know if you'll keep that in. But it is kind of a good segue to something I found out about one of the guys.
Oh no.
Yeah. So you said that the guy on the right there is called just called club owner in the credits. The other guy is called old rock band leader.
Yeah.
And shockingly, his IMDb, this is the only thing he's ever been in. But it does have a lot of info. Well, not a lot of info, but very key info that I'm surprised they kept up to date. So
is it good or bad?
It's bad.
Oh,
it's bad.
Okay. Because I was going to say, when it's someone like this and it's good info, you know they've done it themselves. They've added it. But in this case...
One of the things I'm going to say he probably didn't is because he's dead.
Oh.
He's died in October 20th, 2016. Oh. Age 63. He was born in 53. So this is 87. So he is younger than us. No. That guy on the left, at least.
Oh, that's upsetting.
So yeah, unfortunately, is dead. But and this is the weirdest thing. Again, I don't think he updated this because there's one thing. Oh, should mention the guy's name is Jack McLaughlin, and he earned a black belt in Taekwondo. Not that you could tell from this minute, because he kind of gets his ass handed to him. But
I don't know. I'm torn on it, right? As in the fighting of the actors. Much like we said in previous scenes, I think you can tell these people know what they're doing, but they don't know how to do it for film. Because that's a different skill.
Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe he could throw down properly, but he's just afraid he might actually hurt the other guy or something.
Well, that's the thing. It's a bit like wrestling, right? Again, going back to that, is you've got to learn how to, I don't want to say fake it, but how to do it in a way that causes minimal damage, but looks damaging. And same for martial arts with movies. You know, Bruce Lee had to make it look like he was kicking the shit out of people without kicking the shit out of them.
Yeah. Although I think his opening move in the fight is literally grabbing the guy by the waist and then turning him around and kind of shoving him away, which is... but the big thing, and again, I really, really doubt he added this. It says Jack McLaughlin resigned from his position as District Attorney of Orlando, Florida in 1999 when he was accused of rape.
Oh, no.
So, no, that's not good.
Not good. No, that's...
I'm assuming he had a black belt in Taekwondo. I'm assuming, like everybody in Orlando, he was a graduate of the YK Kim School of Taekwondo. As I think this is when you're born. Like, your nappy is just a belt. They just give you the white belt. But the fact that he rose to the position of district attorney, this guy. So I guess maybe he saw, acting wasn't in his future. And then he went into, he became Orlando's Harvey Dent.
I was about to say he became Two-Face.
Yeah. The golden boy for a while until things went horribly, horribly wrong.
Yeah.
I tried looking more into it. Unfortunately... A lot of there are archival Orlando papers, but they're whole ones you have to register for and stuff. I'm not doing that. But do I want to pay to read a news article from 1999 for the Orlando Tribune? Not particularly.
Yes.
Well, you have to buy a subscription, John. like every day that every episode, then you come in the Orlando Tribune this week, it turns out that the park has now been renovated. But yeah, they do mention there was a brief story about his offices having to come out and be like, "Yep, so he did that," and of course he's fired.
And he straight up admitted it.
No, I think it's just that the accusation was that bad. It was basically he was very aggressive with a woman at a bar and then took her outside, cornered her, was forcing her to try to take off her clothes, and then she kneed him in the groin, and that took him down.
Oh shit! That's not even just an unwanted advance that he's
Yeah, pursuing. Oh no, it's full on. Yeah.
It is funny you mentioned YK Kim, Niall, because this guy on the commentary track, it's confirmed. He's one of his students.
Ah.
Yeah, and he brings up that he's a federal prosecutor, and that Kim cast all of these people. He chose him, even though he's not supposed to be casting them. He cast him, and they're laughing like, "Oh, I wonder if his co-workers saw him, doing all this crazy stuff, but they don't bring up any of the darkness.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It could be that they just genuinely don't know. Like, it is a bit grim that they're going like, oh, yeah, he's dead now. And also, he is.
Well, that's the thing, right? You can't ignore him in the movie, so bring up the things you can, but you also don't want your commentary track to be really miserable and dark.
Yeah. It would just be terrible. Like, yeah, the commentary track for what Miami Connection was just all about, like, oh yeah, so he's dead, and also like literally every other character is like
disgrace.
Yeah, he had leukemia for a long time. Yeah, it was really just be like, everyone just be like, yeah, he's a really nice guy. I'm sorry, really. It's like, so no, keep things peppy for this movie at least.
I love you, Pepsi. I don't know why I just thought of that when you said Peppy, but one of his students yet again. He doesn't mention the club owner specifically here, but he's got to be, right? Because this guy's got moves as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, he seems to be like the hero of the scene, so he might have mentioned it earlier in the commentary, maybe, when the guy first appeared, when he was introducing Dragon Sound.
I didn't notice, but, I could have just missed it. Because we aren't infallible, listeners. We try our best, but we're not infallible. We're not the world's greatest experts on this. We're just huge fans.
But speaking of Taekwondo, things do, of course, erupt into fisticuffs, as they are wont to do with everybody in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And so, they got into full-on, like, I do enjoy the fact it's like, Dragon Sound, it makes sense. Like, okay, that's their shtick. But the fact that it's like a random club owner and the X-band that was there, okay, so we're going to fight. Well, clearly we're going to have a Taekwondo fight, because that's what we all know.
It's agreed upon, almost like, without words.
Yeah.
And this club owner batters the shit out of them. And he gets a bit too into it. I'm concerned for him. He's like yeah!
Well, to be fair, he is on a lot of cocaine.
Well, there's more evidence right there.
It should be very much just like, I warn you, I am on so much cocaine now, I should be dead. All right, do you really want to get into this?
This the main villain as well, he decides to leave it be, doesn't he? But not without, as we mentioned, swinging the jacket, but also calling the Emma son of a bitch about 8 million times.
Oh, that was my favorite moment of the whole thing. Was like, because he goes in, because the guy's pointing at him like, oh, you get the hell out of my club, blah, blah, blah. And the guy goes, you son of a, don't you give a point to me, you son of a. And it's like, is that what you'd say? Don't you give a point to me?
He messes up a few lines. He flubs another one in my favorite way. He goes, next time I'll kill your ass.
I don't think he's flubbing lines. I'm thinking he's just coming up with them. I don't think there was any lines for him to.
I don't know, because the way he you could say I'll kill your ass, but the delivery is like he's trying to say I'll kick your ass, and he screws it up. But that made it feel more real to me, because that's exactly what I would do in the heat of the moment. I'd mess up what I'm trying to say, and then afterwards in the shower, I'll be like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Like, I am curious though now, because like the fact that there is another band. It really feels like they could have been like, this could have been set up for a sequel. Like the way at the beginning of the first Superman movie, they introduce, General Zod. And and then they're like, oh, they're off in the Phantom Zone. Oh, that was a random thing within the movie. And then the second movie's like, well, the General Zod's back. We put that there for... It could have been when YK Kim was thinking franchise. He was like, yeah, set up like this is like the Bizarro... anti-Dragon Sound.
Oh.
And that guy is like the anti-Mark.
That'd be amazing. See, I always thought, like, the confusing bit in this is that this band come out of nowhere. They have this scene and that's it. Because Logic, I'm not saying this is better, but if you're writing it, Logic would say, this band are part of Yoshito's crew.
Yeah. Or they're Jeff's friends.
Or Jeff's friend. Yeah, they're all connected in that way, and that's part of the beef, right?
Yeah, it would be seen like the reason Yoshito came down to the club beyond seeing his BFF was like Jeff going like, oh, my best friend's band's playing.
Yeah.
And then, well, of course, Jeff would never say his best friend's band's
playing. Yes.
A guy I know's band's playing. A business acquaintance who I have no personal feelings for. His band is playing. And then they get in there and they're like, who the hell are these guys? I wanted to see Indubitably. Like, I want to hear some doom metal. What the hell's happening?
There you go, right there. I'm not saying we've improved the movie, but that makes more sense.
Yeah.
And then there's even more layers to the feud.
Like, you think almost this guy would have been maybe even Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff's a musician. Exactly.
So I can't remember. I don't think the club owner ever appears again. You think they would have had a scene of if Jeff came in saying, "You fired my band," you would have a scene of Jeff destroying this guy.
Yeah,
and then
that
being
would
like,
have,
that's how dangerous he is.
That would have added to everything, right? Jeff just beats this guy up, and then like Mark finds him bloodied or something.
Yeah. Oh. But so within the fight though, because we have the weird thing is the main guy doesn't get much moves. John McLaughlin. It seems to be there's a guy who comes in with a black jacket. He's instantly. Well, actually, to be fair, both of them are very. It has one cut, and it cuts at him kind of twisting his arm and he's got him down on the floor. Both of them are instantaneously very sweaty, which would indicate to me that they probably filmed for like an hour. And then this was the cut was like when these guys have been at it for 45 straight minutes and they're drenched in buckets of sweat. They're like, yeah, we'll use that one cut, even though they were bone dry 2 seconds before. And then so takes out the guy with the black jacket. The guy in army fatigues comes in. Cut cool. Doesn't even take off. Gets flipped over. Doesn't even take off his sunglasses, which I admire as a little cool move.
If you can keep them on, hell yeah.
Yeah. And then I would say Coca-Cola logo guy, who we talked about a lot last minute. He comes in, doesn't put on a good show, and also have to say the Coca-Cola top maybe a little too small for him. He's he's got the plumber crack is very visible. It's just the sweater's kind of riding up. You see if you pause it at 36 seconds, you see this guy's ass. Basically. You see he's just not covering everything as well as he should be.
I've owned a few sweaters for Americans like this that they fit, but they ride up for some reason. I think they're like nipped in funny, and it's like, oh no.
To be fair, it is a thing. If it was like it was me watching it on, a woman, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's deliberately done and it's very sexy.
That's your favorite. Oh yeah, show me that midriff.
Yeah, exactly. But then with Coca-Cola top guy, I'm like, again, because it just reminds you of plumber's crack. So it's just like, well, the guy might be a plumber. That might be. My band got fired. Of course I'm a plumber. I had to go back to my old job.
Yeah, that was his trade at school. He did that so he had something to fall back on, but he really wanted the band to take off.
Yeah. That's why he's coming in now. He's just like, look at the crack. Look at what you've reduced me to. Although I should say, famously, plumbers actually, well, not famously, but like, I say, been reduced to being a plumber. Plumbing is a very lucrative business.
But when we were kids, so I assume even in the 80s here, a little bit before our time, but it was considered like a bad thing, wasn't it? Because everybody had this vision that everyone's going to be like a corporate executive. Which I'm blaming on the 80s. Like, everyone wants to be a yuppie and shit like that. So, blue-collar jobs were looked down on. Whereas that's one good thing that's happened in society, is it's sort of shifted. People like plumbers now are making money.
Yeah. I remember even in the early 90s, there was an episode of Frasier where he comes across this old-school bully, played by John C. McGinley, of Dr. Cox from Scrubs fame. And his whole thing's like, he's a plumber. Like he's the plumber, and Frasier has because Frasier's so elitist.
Oh, that would make Frasier laugh, I think.
Yeah, but he's so like, oh man, yeah, I'm going to tell him off and all his business, and Niles is like, well, I mean, he's been reduced to a plumber, like, the guy's been through enough. And then Frasier, when he's there, he finds out the guy like owns a better car than him. He takes better holidays. He's actually more cultured than him because he's more traveled and stuff.
Yes.
And so it just ends up winding Frasier up more and more that this guy's a plumber, and he actually earns more than Frasier does because it's like, oh yeah, I own a plumbing business. Like, yeah, I mean, I did really good out of this.
And it's a specialist skill. You can't just go on YouTube and learn how to fix your pipes.
So that could be this guy is like he's not coming in for the attack. He's coming in for a hug to be thank you for leading me back to my true path of being a plumber. And the guy misinterprets it. He's like, get the hell out of here.
Well, I think it might be that because the only other explanation is that he's so bad at fighting because he's not on coke.
Oh, maybe he misinterpreted. Like, yeah, we're gonna go to the club, do some coke, and then go in. He's like, all right, go to the club, wear some coke. Yeah, I get it.
I've already downed 2 liters. I'm buzzing.
And then, so of course, he gets taken out, and then, so old rock band leader, he comes in for a swing. The other guy comes in, the club owner comes in for a swing. And then he just grabs him by the shirt, and then he lines up a punch, and then just goes like, "Yeah, get out of here!" and starts pointing at his face. I was like, why didn't he punch him? What was it? What made them both peace out at the end?
I think they just know they're not going to. What are they going to gain from this?
Yeah.
What's the they're going to punish him?
It's almost as if the whole scene and the entire minute was pointless. It probably shouldn't have been in the film.
It is kind of pointless, isn't it? Because it doesn't really lead to anything if they're not connected to Jeff or Yoshito.
And then there was no sequel where they were revealed to be like, they're the bad guys for Miami Connection 2.
And the club owner doesn't go on to do anything. So I don't really understand why it's here, but I love it. All the, "You son of a bitch!"
I think his exit is fantastic because it's the awkwardness of the fact that the fight stops. He grabs him and kind of points at him, and then the guy goes to walk away. He kind of half slips and almost falls over, and then he's still continuing the insult, and then it's all, "You son of a! Don't you give up! Point at me, you son of a!"
It's wonderful. It feels quite realistic.
Yeah.
It's sloppy. It's messy. It's not cool. I
have to say one thing. It only occurred to me now. I think it's one thing that the non-binary community must have up on the rest of society. Because what would be the non-binary version of "son of a bitch"?
Oh.
People all talk about trying to keep people's pronouns up to date. So we have to make sure we're current with what the correct insults would be.
You could just say "child of a bitch." That doesn't sound the same.
You offspring of a bitch.
Yeah. Let's shorten it. Let's decide right now. I'm allowed. I'm non-binary. Let's shorten offspring to just spring. So spring of a bitch.
You spring of a.
There you go. Spring of a bitch. Pretty much every term that people come up with for non-binary things, though, are terrible. So if I do say so myself, that's better than most of them. Like you might have noticed in the recent Chucky episode, Glenn and Glenda mention a certain one, which is used a lot. I've heard it used. You may have heard them use a term for the child of one's sibling. So nephew or niece, right? So a common one to use to be like for non-binary people or just to be gender neutral, and they used it in Chucky, is nibbling.
Oh, no, I do remember that now that you mention it, because I remember having the kind of thing of like...
Yeah, I've heard it a lot, and I understand people are trying to come up with terms, but I don't like it. I wouldn't use it. But then again, there's loads of terms I don't like. Like, I don't like non-binary being shortened to NB. It's like, I'm an NB. But you're not allowed to spell it NB because that means non-black. That's a different thing. So it's had to be spelled ENBY. And it just feels a bit infantilizing, I think. NB, fuck off. But I also, if people want to use it for themselves, that's fine,
Nibbling sounds terrible. That sounds way too cutesy. That's just real.
It sounds like Nibbler from Futurama.
Yeah. I don't. That'll be fair. Like, if they come across someone and they want it to be used, fair enough.
Well, this is the thing. This is the thing. Just because I wouldn't like to use it for me, that's okay. If other people want to use it for them, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't like it for me.
Yeah, I'm going to call them, John, instead of nibbling, a spring of a bitch.
Spring of a bitch. If I was called a spring of a bitch, I would like it.
Don't you nibbling me, you spring of a bitch.
That's what this fight needs, is a little nibble. No nibbling.
Again, though, it does feel as if there was an entire subplot cut.
Yep.
And they were just like, no, I really like that fight scene, though. Or the guys were just like, oh, that was my best ever work was in that fight scene. They're like, all right, we'll keep it in the movie, don't worry about it.
Totally the vibe I get is the cut scene. They don't mention it in the commentary, so I can't be sure, but it's got all the hallmarks of a cut, like plot line. Yeah. But we do get one final shot at the end as well. We cut to Bayside.
Oh, yeah, because they edited an episode of Saved by the Bell.
That's exactly what I thought. I could just think of Bayside Tigers.
I just want to hear the dramatic electric guitars.
The transition music.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like Zach Morris says, we went to see Dragon Sound last night. Now Zeke wants to learn Taekwondo.
And by transition music, I don't mean Zach Morris is transitioning.
Oh, oh, and that could have been an episode, though. I would say by the Bell, like back in the day, they did issue commentary, of course, classically with Jesse and maybe she went to the club. That's where she got hooked on the caffeine pills.
Well, I'm one of those people who thinks that Showgirls is a sequel to Saved by the Bell.
Totally, yeah. You got Jessie Sprano. She just you thought she got clean, but she didn't get clean.
No.
Well, that'll be fun. That's why the guy's wearing a Coke thing. It's like, oh no, there's not cocaine they're promoting. It's caffeine pills. That's why everybody's so hyped up.
Everyone's on caffeine pills in this. Yeah, that turns out that's what Yoshito's dealing in. It's not Coke.
Oh no, I'm moving a lot of caffeine pills down Orlando.
Those kids are going crazy for them down at the university, and that's why Dragon Sound is so against them.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. But that's like Yoshito's there in the club going like, a lot of kids in this club.
Yeah.
I guess they need to study late, some of these kids, He's planting guys around to be like, oh man, I'm totally gonna fail the midterms because I'm so tired all the time. If only I had something. Like, oh, I got something here, man.
That would be, oh my God, we've come up with better plot lines.
That'll be great. Oh, then you find out that the reason she's singing "I'm So Excited" is because that's a Dragon Sound do a cover of "I'm So Excited." I think that's their show closer.
Oh, why not? End on a cover. Do it.
Yeah.
I saw The Damned the other day, and they did a whole bunch of covers. It was great. It was like, holy shit, they haven't done these before. They came out to the Doctor Who fucking theme.
Oh, nice. That's not David trying to go like, well, I understand the regenerated. There's like, no, they already cast the new one. David, you're out of luck, man.
If I can have Dave Vanian of The Damned as the new Doctor, that'll be my life complete.
I think he at least would his look would be really good for Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I don't know about him as an actor, but just that. Well, I guess they already sort of co-opted it for Sweeney Todd that time. But I can imagine that's the thing too.
Yeah, that's interesting. Actually, I didn't think about that. That because I'm picturing Dave Vanian either now or late 70s. But that era.
Yeah, I'm thinking the classic white stripe.
It's
era.
classic to you, but to me, it's like that's later period. No, that's not proper. But now you mention it, yes, that might actually. That's quite interesting. I'd like that.
Yeah, that's kind of a bit. So they're showing one clip of not David Tennant, the other new guy who's coming after, as if they had in the clip of like coming next on Doctor Who. They had to show a little snippet to be like, don't worry, that other guy is still coming too, in case anyone's confused.
We haven't sacked him.
Yeah, but he's just got like a normal, like it's kind of like a shaved head, and I was a bit like, because I remember when Peter Capaldi first showed up, he had the Malcolm Tucker haircut, and it's like that doesn't suit the character of the Doctor to have cropped hair. It just doesn't work for me. And then as it went on, I think Capaldi probably agreed because he ended up getting this big crazy like curly mane and stuff. So I'm wondering if this guy, the new guy, is he going to be like, oh no, eventually I'll grow this out and it'll be like, maybe he will eventually adopt a Dave Vanian kind of look.
Hell yeah. That'd be quite interesting with Doctor Who if every regeneration, the Doctor starts bald. And then it grows throughout the season.
I saw, and I have to say, it. I thought it was a bit of a. I don't know if you've seen the regeneration into David Tennant. He regenerated in his clothes. Like Jodie Whittaker turned in to David Tennant, but his clothes, the clothes changed as well, which never happens. And usually, kind of part of the fun of the first episode of a new Doctor is that they're running around in the old Doctor's clothes, and it always kind of look. And then David, apparently the guy writing the next episode, Russell T Davies coming back for it. He's like, yeah, I felt uncomfortable with the idea of David Tennant in Jodie Whittaker's clothes, as if I'll be making fun of like drag performers or something, or like a man and woman's clothing.
That makes you look like more of a bigot.
Yeah, one, she's wearing trousers and a t-shirt, like in a coat. That's not a gendered outfit.
It's quite a mask kind of look. Okay, it's got like a feminine cut, but
yeah. And she's got a little earring, but then it's like, oh, so what? And so one, I was like, well, it opens to so many questions of how do the clothes regenerate and why. Two, it doesn't make, she's not particularly dressed in a feminine way. And three, earlier in the episode, the plot line revolves around Sacha Dhawan, who's playing the Master, and it regenerating forcing the Doctor into regeneration to regenerate into him.
Ooh.
So he can be the new Doctor. And most of the episodes, Sacha Dhawan is going around in Jodie Whittaker's outfit. And he's got the earring and stuff on as well. And you're just like, yeah, that makes sense. It was the Doctor
cool.
was at that point a woman, regenerated into a man, and that's just the way it is. So everything Russell T Davies came out with is like, you've been stupid, man. Like, you're not even paying attention to things that happened earlier in the episode. Like, what's going on?
Oh, God damn it. That sounds...
To be fair, though, it might be he just said that because there's actually, like, a specific reason that they regenerated into those clothes, and it's to do with, like, it's not a regeneration, it's just that body's now gone back in time or something, and there's actually a specific reason the clothes didn't change, and he doesn't want to give it away.
Maybe.
But if that is the actual truth, then it's like, no, Russell, you've been an idiot. Like, no one would have cared about that.
Well, now we're going down this route.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any more notes?
Not. I will say I like the little vibe of, because the old band leader, he's ready to strut his stuff, march out of there. But after he leaves, the guy in the black jacket, he kind of sizes up as if he's like, this ain't over. Like, he kind of approaches as like, the fight's not over between me and you. But then he kind of has like, all right, I'll back off. But the fact, club owner's still ready to go. They're both drenched in sweat, but he is like...
He's tough as nails, isn't he, this guy?
This guy will go all goddamn night. You think maybe that's how he hired Dragon Sounds? Like, he challenged them all to... like, whoever beats me at Taekwondo can beat the... I think, Mark finally took him down with the old toe-nose trick.
Oh, God. I can't wait to talk about that. Oh.
Yeah. If anyone's watching who hasn't seen the film and is watching along minute by minute, we've alluded to the nose-toe thing several times. And it's worth the wait when you see what it is.
I do think there are a couple of listeners who are going through minute by minute, which is insane to me. But I have heard.
Yeah. See, I think this movie, you could get away with that kind of thing. Well, something like The Godfather, where I know somebody apparently did do that, listen to the show first before watching the movie. That seems like that would be incredibly confusing. But thankfully, Miami Connection is fairly straightforward. It's straightforward in terms of what the story is. It's just that they do a lot of confusing things in order to convey that.
Plus, we've discovered now it's secretly deep.
Yes, of course.
The deepest part of it, of course, is the completely unaffiliated drinking game.
Yeah.
Now, you know what? There's only one. Dragon Sound are mentioned by name. And that is part of the drinking game. So, raise your glass, everyone. Take a drink.
To be fair, I would also say, that the club owner, he is pumping fists into guys' heads.
Well, it depends how you interpret a fist pump. Yeah. One that hasn't come up yet that's on there is someone getting kicked in the face. And I double-checked. I went through, and it's like, I haven't seen anyone take a kick to the face yet, which I found remarkable so far. People have taken a shot to the chest, and people have swung for the face and missed, and things like this.
Yeah. Oh, maybe we've got like a bountiful feast of face kicks coming down the line.
Yeah. Oh, you have to really save those face kicks for the end of the movie. Yeah, that's right.
That's the climax of the whole movie. It's nothing but face kicks.
But no, that is the end of my notes. I've taken a nice big swig. I took a bigger swig because there's only one. And that's it. That's the end of my notes.
Well, did you have a swig of Coke or Heineken? As we know, that was the on the umbrella in the background.
Heineken sprinkled with Coke, as in cocaine. No, actually, to be perfectly honest, it's a Kronenberg.
Oh.
Which has nothing to do with the movie. So, actually, am I allowed to say their name? Am I going to get in trouble?
But David, my mind is about the David Cronenberg, so I was like, well.
Yeah, I get sued for drinking Cronenberg by David Cronenberg.
I was just imagining David Cronenberg's Miami Connection.
Oh, yeah.
It's got cerebral body horrors. It's like, Mark's toes grow out of your nose or something.
Well, David Cronenberg, if you're listening to this podcast, we will help you kickstart the funding needed to make your version of this movie. We'll promote it on the show. Let us know. Get in touch. Speaking of getting in touch, though, we'll break the connection and we will head off. But you can get in touch with us on Facebook at the Miami Minutes Taekwondo Orphanage, Twitter at Miami Minutes, Instagram Miami Minutes, And why not go to the Sleepy Charlie Media Patreon page, get some wonderful bonus episodes, and help us keep the show ticking along. And you know what? Do you want us to go on that new Mastodon thing that everyone's getting instead of Twitter? I'll make one. If people want one, I'll make one. I've made one for me to personally check it out, and it's basically like a nerdy Twitter, which vibes with me. But I don't know. If you want us on there, we'll get on there. Get in touch.
I'm assuming, speaking of, when we brought up Saved by the Bell, speaking of early 90s children's TV shows, I'm assuming Mastodon is run by that one guy from Power Rangers.
That was always my favorite. Mastodon! Tyrannosaurus!
It would be great though if he went on there. The logo was just him doing Mastodon.
That would be amazing. Sadly not. Sadly not. It's one random guy who now can't keep up with the programming. Because it was just a really low-level nerd sort of place, and now all of a sudden, like Stephen Fry's joined it, and he's like, he can't keep up with it. Like the servers were crashing, and he's like, oh.
Oh, great though if he just can't keep up with it. He's like, Elon, you want to buy this as well?
Oh God, don't tempt him, Jesus.
People just have to keep migrating from site to site.
Oh God, we'll migrate now. We'll migrate away to next minute next week. Join us again in 7 days for more Miami Minutes.
Don't you make a point at me, you son of a bitch!
Son of a bitch!
Listen to me!